Welcome to the Future of Online Business series and the specific 2026 forecast for you as a generator. So in episode 2 of this series, the last episode, or episode 305 of the All That Jazze podcast, we covered the 5 business themes for 2026: humanness, relational business, hyper personalization, visibility reimagined, and self-trust and nervous system capacity. So if you haven't listened to that, please listen to that first, because it's a much more robust deep dive of those themes. And that is something that we're extending on today in this specific episode for you as a generator. And then one episode back from that, which is episode 1 of the series, or episode 304, I think it's 304 of the All That Jazze podcast, is where we explore the major astrological transits for the year, which if you haven't listened to that, like that is really informing, I think when you have such huge, shifts astrologically, especially with the generational and outer planets, like it's impacting everything, in our industry. It's impacting our collective consciousness and all the strategies that we are utilizing as it relates to our business. So if you haven't listened to those 2 episodes, please make sure that you start there. So today is all about what all of this means for you as a generator. So before we get into it, a really quick snapshot of those major transits and what they are asking from you as a generator in 2026 and beyond. So we first have Neptune in Aries. This is really your permission slip to stop looking outside of yourself for answers, to really come back into what lights you up and what feels really joyful for you. Your sacral response, which is what it's referred to in human design, that gut feel. The work is actually trusting that, especially when it doesn't make logical sense. And, Neptune moving into Aries is really encouraging you to come back to that. Saturn in Aries as well. What are you building that you want to still be building in and running and engaging with in 10 years time? This is the era of committing to mastery in that area and giving yourself permission to let go of anything that isn't aligned with that. This is about decomplicating things and not spreading yourself thin across 5 different areas. We have Saturn conjunct Neptune. This is like a once in 6,000 year experience. People can feel whether you're actually lit up about what you're teaching. Like the perception of value, the way that people are buying, we're really valuing embodiment. We're really making decisions in a values-led way. And so this transit really rewards embodiment. So if you're selling something that doesn't just satisfy you to deliver, like if it's not something that's feeling like exciting for your sacral, that will show and it will impact conversions. We have Uranus moving into Gemini. And I think this is really connected to the way people, learn and consume is shifting. I spoke about this a lot in the last couple of episodes. And so your depth of knowledge, that might want to come through in new formats. It could be a podcast, or maybe a YouTube channel, or a workshop series, or collaborating, with other people who have, your ideal client in their audience, right? Let your mastery find new containers. Like get curious about how people, like where you are in your zone of genius and how people best experience that. We have Jupiter in Leo, which is your expertise gets to be visible this year. Like this is not in a look at me kind of way. Like I want validation. Like this is from the perspective of like, this is what I've built. This is what I'm really good at. This is what I really love to do. And I'm just no longer apologizing for it. And then of course we have the North Node moving into Aquarius, the South Node moving into Leo. And I think that this is a real permission to not just be building for yourself as well, that your mastery is really contributing to collective change. Like who are you being in the Pluto in Aquarius era? Like what is the thing that you contribute? What is the thing that only you can do that nobody else, no AI can, right? Like who else benefits when you go deeper? Right? When you are really an expert in whatever it is that you're doing, like who else benefits from that, right? Okay, want to ask you something. I want to ask you, if you could spend your day doing whatever you wanted and there was no consequences, no obligations, but I need to do this other thing first, or that's not logical, whatever it is, what would that thing be? Sit with that for a second. Because what I see with almost every generator that I work with is that they are spending a really significant amount of time on stuff that doesn't really matter, or at the very least stuff that like isn't the thing that only you can do. in your business. And I get it. Like, there are always going to be boring parts of running a business. I'm definitely not someone that's like, just work on things that you love. Like, we wouldn't really have very successful businesses if we only did things that we love, right? Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you should only do the fun stuff and leave the rest, because it's just not how business works. But when I think about the highest expression for you as a generator, the highest expression of your life and business, it is someone who is so lit up about their work that you can just feel it through the screen, through a podcast, through a single email. It's like, oh, I can feel how much they just love this, And so I really want to just ask you really honestly, do you feel that right now? And if you don't, why? Why not? Because that's probably the most important business question that you can answer this year. With Saturn and Neptune meeting in Aries, the very first degree of the zodiac, like, we're moving into an era of embodiment. People can feel like that, like we're really making decisions based on that. People can feel whether you've integrated what you're teaching versus whether you're going through the motions. And I think with AI creating content at scale as well, the thing that makes you really irreplaceable and your zone of genius is like your genuine human lit up energy about the work that you do, right? Like, if you're spending, 70% of your week on whatever, things that are just not part of that zone of genius, admin funnels, content you don't enjoy creating, managing systems that have gotten way too complex, like, you're not bringing that energy anywhere. You're depleted before you even get to the work that matters. And I think for you as a generator, like, one of the areas that I think that you can start to contemplate this as well is like, where do you feel most frustrated, right? Like, the not self experience of generators and manifesting generators is frustration. I know for me, I feel a lot of frustration when I have made decisions that my undefined ego center made because she wanted to prove herself. When I'm doing a lot of work for other people and I'm not getting space for myself, like, that is a one-way ticket to frustration for me. And so that is a really important thing that I need to be aware of, that if my business gets too complex where I'm taken away from my zone of genius and creating and being with people and being able to build relationships, something's gone wrong and I need to fix that. So I want you to look at your business right now and I want you to ask, like, what am I doing that someone else could do or that just doesn't need to exist at all? Like, what's the thing that in my business only I can do? That thing where I lose track of time, where I feel genuinely excited to show up. Like, what does that actually look like for me? An example for me, I'm not a generator, I'm a manifesting generator. But the rules apply in terms of that sacral excitement. Over the past 18 months, I've decomplicated my entire business model. I have one core offer, one main trust and nurture funnel. And what happened was I suddenly had all of this extra space to be actually on coaching calls and pulling up someone's chart, going deep, space to record a podcast episode like this one, because it's something that I wanted to do, not because it felt like, oh, I have to do this as part of my marketing. I have to have this because it's on the content calendar. I've just had a lot more space to really apply to my work. I've built a partner program. I'm collaborating with a lot more people, and that is really joyful for me. I just, at the end of the day, when I think about my zone of genius and the thing that only I can do, it's coaching, right? Like, being in a group with people where I can give them feedback on the strategies that are going to most fit based on their season of life, what they're doing. Like, that's where I'm in my zone of genius. And I realized that I was so busy, like, in other people, like, I was just so busy in all of these other areas that actually that was the thing that I was spending the least amount of time on in my business, but it was the thing that only I could do. Isn't that crazy? And so it's really important to contemplate on this, because, like, the thing that only you could do, the thing that's like really juicy for you, it could be coaching, it could be creating, like whatever it is. Like, you might really love creating content and really enjoy that part of your business. But maybe you are over-delivering so much in your coaching, or you've got too many offers that you're not getting the space to create, which in turn then impacts conversions. Because if you love creating content, you love sparking conversation, that's probably the thing that converts, right? That's the stuff that people remember. That's the relationships that you're starting to build, right? So it's going to look different for everyone. And even if you are brand new to business, like, this still applies to you as well, right? You might not have a really complex business to decomplicate, but you might be spending your time on things that you think that you should do because some course told you to, right? You might be posting on 3 different platforms when you only really enjoy one, or you're building a funnel when you'd actually rather be doing free workshops where people can experience your energy live, or creating really polished content when your best work happens in the messy, off-the-cuff conversations. So what if you, hear me out, what if you just stop doing the things that drain you and double down on the things where people can feel your excitement? What would happen? What would change? I want to talk about, this really is a nice segue to talk about the generator plateau, because this is something that I observe a lot in the generator clients that I've worked with in their businesses. At some point, the thing that used to light you up might start feeling boring or stale, or just, I don't know, just a bit, I'm just not feeling the vibe. And for generators, that plateau, like this is typically what happens in the plateau, because the generator experience is leap, plateau, leap, plateau. And what I see happen in that plateau is a lot of just overcomplicating things, right? Because like, if you think about it, right, you're told that your purpose and intention and strategy as a generator is about responding to what lights you up. So when you're in this plateau, when nothing feels particularly exciting, it feels like something is seriously wrong. And what usually happens is that's when you add something, a new offer or a new platform, or maybe you'll pivot, maybe you'll start to question things, you'll move away from the action that you were just taking, because the discomfort of the plateau is really unbearable and really uncomfortable. But I would love to offer something a little bit different. Just having this awareness is really transformative for generator clients. And so they can start to realize that when the plateau hits and that urgency really kicks in, they're like, I need to do something feeling, I really encourage them to notice, is that true? Like, is this something that is coming from realness and truth and strategy and authority and alignment, or does it feel like urgency? Like, what's actually happening in your body? What's actually happening in your body? Is it like a tightness in your chest? Is it a clenching in your jaw? Like mine is always real confusion about what I should be focused on. When I'm really confused, I'm like, I need to just take a break, right? And so typically I'll also be obviously looking at their chart and looking at their centers and their astrology chart as well, and looking at different patterns and things like that. But I'll really just invite them to just really tune into their inner world and experience, and just let me know, like, where do you feel that? Where do you feel this urgency? Interestingly, a lot will do this. It's like, I feel it in my head. Really common if you have an undefined head center, undefined ajna center in human design. If you don't know what this means yet, that's cool. There is some resources in the notes below, but they'll often do this, or they'll feel it in their chest. And I invite them to put their hand there. And instead of acting on that urgency, we'll ask this part of them, what are you afraid will happen if we don't do something about this right now? And typically it's not because this feels really exciting and I'm worried if we don't act on it that like this feels really exciting to me. Typically the answer to that question will be that I'm not going to make money, or that like it's not coming from a place of excitement and sacral response. It's coming from a place of like, I'm worried I'm going to get left behind. I'm worried I'm not going to have money. I'm like, that's where things are coming from, right? And usually, particularly for you as a generator, what I observe often is there is a part of you, which has been there a long time supporting you, she learns somewhere that your worth is tied to your output, that slowing down means falling behind, that if you're not producing and moving forward, that you're failing. And she's kept you safe. Like, she's not wrong. Like, we love her. We love that she's supported you to move forward and she's helped you achieve your goals. But she might be the one that's making all of your business decisions when your sacral actually just needs a minute. Because sometimes the plateau is actually where mastery deepens. Sometimes it's a harvest season, a time to just let what you've already built just produce results instead of planting more seeds. And sometimes, yes, it's a genuine signal that something needs to shift. But the difference between those 3 things, like, your body will know the answer, but you have to slow down enough. You have to actually ask those questions. You have to attune to your inner experience to hear it. Now, on visibility, this is really important for you as a generator this year too. I'll keep this quick because I could talk about it all day. I think it's really important to look at where you've maybe been dimming your expertise, maybe just not just letting your experience speak for itself, because you don't want to seem too much. You don't want to make other people uncomfortable. But with Jupiter in Leo and Uranus in Gemini this year, like this is the year to let your work speak for itself, right? And that might mean showing up in new ways. It might be a collaboration with someone in a completely different space, a podcast, a workshop for a community that isn't yours, right? Where people get like to experience you genuinely excited about your work. And that's the best marketing you could ever do. Like, I think that I often say this to my sacral clients all the time, generators in particular, but generators and manifesting generators, sometimes I'll reflect back to them like, there's only so much that you can write on a sales page, right? Like your true magic is people feeling your excitement in real time. That is the best marketing that you could ever do. The best marketing that you could ever do. You lit up talking about the thing that you just can't shut up about, right? And the North Node in Aquarius is asking like, well, who else benefits from your mastery, right? If you went deeper, if you gave yourself permission to be an expert on that thing, if you committed to being the person in your industry who really knows this thing, what collective contribution does that create? Like if you're a designer that, you're helping people with their brand, what's the collective impact of that? Right? Is it helping people like develop that self-trust and really back themselves, and really understanding like the essence of their brand and being able to communicate and articulate that, right? Whatever that is for you, right? So what I would love to invite you to do after this episode, and it's a 2-part practice, in the morning before you open your laptop, before you check your inbox, just take a few minutes to connect with your future self. I've got episodes on this as well. There's an episode, I think it's episode 303 maybe, on this. I'll pop it in the link. Just take a few minutes to connect with your future self. The version of you who's running the business you actually want. Could be December 2026, could be at any time. What is she doing with her day? What does her calendar look like? How does she spend her mornings? What did she let go of to get there? And then notice, how does that differ from what you're doing right now? Where's the gap? And as I mentioned, I've got a great episode about how I like to connect with this version of myself. I think it is 303, not long ago actually. And it's really connected to making sure that we're giving our reticular activating system in our brain like new ideas and new solutions, right? Otherwise we just keep getting more of the same. And then in the evening, the second part to this practice, in the evening, take a few minutes and audit your day through your body. Not through your to-do list, not through, I wrote all these things down and I didn't get them done, through how you actually feel. Where did you feel lit up today? Where did you kind of lose track of time? Where did you feel heavy? Where did you feel frustrated? Where did you notice yourself forcing something? Right? Start tracking this, even just a few notes in your phone throughout the day, because over a week or two, you'll start to notice patterns, and those patterns will tell you more about what satisfaction actually means for you than like any human design textbook, any coach, like everyone's version of satisfaction, even for you as a generator. All generators are going to be wildly different, right? And of course, if you would like support with this, I would really recommend my free human design and business strategy guide, because it's specifically designed for you as a generator. And I think it's going to be really helpful for you, because inside the guide, actually like over the course of a couple of weeks, there's actually 5 resources in total, and 2 that I want to flag specifically for this conversation. One is your personal kind of strategy cheat sheet. It's like a green light, red light filter for business decisions for you as a generator, what's going to feel supportive for you and what's going to drain you. So the next time you're about to say yes to something, maybe you're in a plateau, right? And you're not sure if it's your sacral or conditioning, you've got something to check against. The other is a deep dive into your human design energy centers. So if you're new to human design, maybe you've pulled up your human design chart. It's all the little centers, right? All the little shapes that are inside the body graph. Super important, because you can start spotting where your open centers are making decisions for you instead of like your strategy and authority, instead of alignment. Because a lot of that urgency and pressure that generators typically feel, it's usually coming from that openness, right? So I'll link that in the show notes, completely free. And honestly, like those 5 resources that you receive throughout, the first one is the business guide. You get 5 like in total. Probably like one of the most comprehensive things I've ever created. And I get messages like every single day, like this is like changed my life in business. So make sure that you go and have a look at that. And if you would like to figure out what to actually focus on right now based on your season of life, your season of business, then I highly recommend Selling Soulfully. It's $37. And in under 2 hours, it'll basically help you figure out how to increase your sales based on as I said, your season of business, but also there's a specific training and guidance for you as a generator. And of course, if you want a space where all of this comes together, where on any given call, we might be pulling up your chart or noticing what transits are, activating your chart, seeing how that connects to a pattern in your human design, talking about business strategy, talking about nurture funnels, all of those kinds of things. That is constantly converting by design. It's where we build businesses that love you back. So we run this twice a year. Our waitlist enrollment opens to the waitlist on March 2nd, 2026. So links for everything are below. And don't forget to come back for the embodiment practice as well, which is going to be episode 8 in this podcast series as well. And it will be episode 311 on the All That Jazze podcast. Thank you for being here. I would love to know how this has landed for you as a generator. I would love to know your human design profile as well. So come and send me an email or send me a message on Instagram. And thanks for being here.